Morning.
Mate, good morning. It's good to be with you.
Welcome to the news.
How's it all going?
It's good. So far, so good.
You've even put the pad back on the seat for me. It's like lovely, you know.
Do you know these are actually the same seats from the AM show?
Yeah, I could imagine that
TV3.
you have quite a rider or a big contract that says it's green M&Ms, the same seats,
I'd take
at
the
a
seats
certain
with me.
height, and
Yeah, you
certain
got it.
type of hair gel still.
How are you?
I'm great, actually, really good.
You cold?
I got taken out on Sunday and Monday. I was in not good shape. You would have seen me in a hazmat suit if I'd been with you at that point.
What's your go-to? Does Amanda make a soup, or do you do pseudoephedrine? Do you go hard?
Mate, it is literally 4 vitamin C's. It's like I just chuck the kitchen sink at it, basically. I'm sure the doctors watching this are going to write in there and tell me I'm doing it all wrong, but
you bounce back.
Bounce back.
You're back. That's good.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, lots to talk about this morning.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you're here. Thank
Good
you
to
for
be
being
here.
here. Now, 70,000 Kiwis left New Zealand permanently. That's the size of Napier. This was in the last year. A record 2/3 going we know where, Australia. Wage gap is 33%. And these are skilled workers. These are skilled Kiwi workers. We want them here.
Yeah.
When is this country going to be good enough for them to return?
Well, that's why I want to come to government. That's what I came 4 years ago, because you want to build a proposition here that people say there's an awesome future. If I work hard, I can get ahead. I can move around my country feeling safe. I can actually get a great education for my kids. Parents can get healthcare. So that's what we've got to do.
So we're not good enough at the moment, are
Well,
we?
I mean, the reality is this, which is that when you hit recession, people actually naturally want to look at opportunities in other countries that are better performing. The second thing is, people will say, we had a bubble post-COVID of people who do their OE and all that sort of stuff. The good thing is we've got positive net migration. The number of people coming in is greater than the number of people leaving.
Although it's low by historic standards.
But that's been by design, because we actually want it. We were too high. If you remember, when we first came to government, we were at 130,000, I think, plus net migration. I think we're down closer to 30 at the moment.
But those skilled Kiwis
I agree.
who are leaving, at the size of Napier, on a plane as an economic refugee, do you agree that New Zealand's not good enough for them?
Well, what I agree is that in recessionary times, as we've seen in our past, people will make choices to go to places where they perceive there's more opportunity.
And then
that is the job of our government,
Yeah.
is to create the conditions that they can see a future here.
Well, let's look at the latest numbers.
I think we can do that, but we've got some work to do to make. Well, I mean,
when do you think this country will be good enough for them to return?
Well, I mean, we're doing everything. You can't say a date, but what you can do is make sure everything you're doing every day is about doing the things that. I honestly believe if we grow the economy, if we restore law and order, deliver world-class education, better healthcare, that is the reason for why people stay here.
So Treasury, in the latest update, unemployment is going to be a little bit higher, and it will be higher for a little bit longer.
Yep.
Wage growth is 2.7%. Even if the Aussies stood still and didn't increase their wages, which we know that they will, it would take 12 years for us to close that gap at your rate. Is that when you think they'll come back?
Well, I can't say, but what I can tell you is we have a productivity problem, that New Zealanders are actually working really hard, but despite how hard we work, we haven't fundamentally been able to change our standard of living. And that's been a 30-year problem. The economists will talk about economic productivity. And so what we're saying as a government is, look, we've been through a tough recessionary time. We know we're turning the corner. We know we're going to recover. That's what all the economists are telling you.
Yeah.
But the point is, we don't want to recover and just watch a recovery. When you say, well, why is Ireland now twice as wealthy as New Zealand? Why is New South Wales 35% wealthier than New Zealand? You go back to say, what are the things fundamentally we have to deliver in order to access higher paying jobs and have a quality of living? It is education, right?
What is your message to them? I mean, because the thing is, you've actually got mums and dads on this side of the Tasman who don't want their kids and grandkids to be living on the other side of the Tasman, and families are literally being split up for economic reasons. They would prefer to be living here.
Yep.
What is your message to those people this morning?
Well, you've got a government that's working really hard to make sure we build world-class education, to make sure that our kids are set up to access the higher paying jobs that are out there. They are there, they want to come to New Zealand. But we need to make sure we've got our kids educated to be able to take those jobs on.
It's going to take some time. It's going to take some time.
Well, it will take time, but we are genuinely dealing. Ryan, there are 5 things that will tell you what would lift New Zealand's living standards.
I know your 5 things, and I know them off by heart. But we have to move on to the OCR.
But I say that is kind of important, because that's the long-term thing that we've got to get right for the proposition.
OCR, you came out. It was a bit of a victory lap yesterday from you guys about the reduction 25 basis points. And there's been some criticism of you for that, because it's not all you, obviously.
No.
But I guess you have an argument on the counterfactual. If the other lot was in, and the debt was a lot higher and the borrowing was a lot higher, it could be a different outcome, right?
Yeah, well, I saw some charts yesterday morning from Sharon Zollner at a breakfast I was at. And what you want, every Reserve Bank governor, every economist will tell you, is you want the government, who run what's called fiscal policy, and the Reserve Banks, which run monetary policy, working together. And what you had under the last lot was the Reserve Bank was printing cash and Labor was spending it. And then all of a sudden the Reserve Bank woke up, put the foot on the brake, Labor kept the foot on the accelerator, and the car careered out of action into the ditch. And so what you're seeing now is by getting on top of the wasteful spending, having good financial discipline, it's not sexy stuff, but good, prudent financial management, as we're doing with this budget. That means that you then we have been able to see inflation go from 7 to 2.
A couple of quick things I want to really rip through. Debt. So, you have promised that you will be at least as tight as this budget in future budgets in order that we get back to surplus. But you have delayed twice already. Can we trust you?
Yeah, you can. I mean,
will you resign if you delay again?
Well, we're delivering a budget surplus in 28-29.
And will you resign if it doesn't happen?
Well, I'm doing everything I can to make sure I deliver
I know,
that,
but we can't trust you, can we? Because you delayed it twice.
No, what you can trust us is we are laying out we're being pretty transparent about where things are sitting, but we have a lot of volatility in the global environment.
Okay, barring any earthquakes.
But despite all of that, we're still committed to delivering the surplus because we know we have to get our debt profile down.
How committed? That's the question, right? Because you could have cut a lot further into public services.
We could have come out. You're right. I get criticised both ways. People say you don't need to worry about it. The easiest thing for me to do is just carry on spending, do what the last lot did, and just punt it down the road to the kids and grandkids.
So you
and they sure as hell ain't coming back to New Zealand at that point.
We'll take your word for it on that one.
On the other side, you could go to full austerity, which people would say you've got to be tougher, harder, cut more, do all that stuff. We are genuinely reprioritising existing spends to better places.
One of those places is from women, and I don't want to get into the argument about the pay equity thing but do you know, have you had any numbers on whether you've lost support with women, internal polling?
Not that I've seen, no.
Okay. Are you worried about that with the election?
Well, no. I mean, I'm more worried about doing the right thing. And the reality there is we are committed to pay equity. You saw our proposal in 2017. 3 years later, the Labor government brought something to the House. If it was that important to them, it took them 3 years to do it. And then you saw in 21-22, Chris Hipkins take a paper to Cabinet that actually loosened it up again.
And it was nuts.
And it went from 3 billion to 13 billion.
So it's interesting, none of your internal polling showing any problems with women, which is interesting.
Well, I never talk about polling because I'm just focused on, I was elected to do a job.
Just then when you did.
Well, no, but the point is, you're just saying to me, have I seen anything in the round that says, people are understanding the problem, which is, what do you want, another 13 billion of debt?
Yeah.
And does that mean that those kids don't come home? You don't deliver the surplus that you want?
Hey, did you see David Seymour getting his haircut yesterday? Not footage that anyone needed to see. But anyway, he gets a haircut and he says, and this is the crazy thing, he said in order to have, because he's on his regulation mission, in order to have a beer or a wine when you're getting a haircut.
Yeah, or your dog inside.
Yeah, he's going to have to go to he's going to need agreement from the coalition in order to change the rule around drinking. I was like, that's insane. How is that possible?
I'm not sure what he's talking about there, because I know we've had a members' bill, or we've talked about it in our caucus as well.
So you would support a beer or a wine at a hairdresser?
That's fine. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Not that you.
I just I don't go to a hairdresser much, mate. I know you're there like every 3 days, but for me it's sort of like, I think you're just trolling me now. I think you're just being really mean.
Hey, mental health. So Matt Ducey's Minister of Mental Health, right? Brought in to clean this whole thing up. Middlemore, Michael Morrow at the Herald has had a story. Middlemore patients, every day there is a mental health patient fleeing the building. One went on to immediately end their own life. Is that acceptable?
No, not good enough. And the real problem we're struggling with on mental health is we have a dedicated minister, but it's about the mental health workforce that we need to have in place. It's a real challenge around the world, as you can imagine, complex people with complex needs. We are doing a series of things, which it's not easy. There's no magical silver bullet here. We've increased the psychiatry places for registrars, I think, by 50%. We've got the stuff happening earlier in the process around mental health call-outs with police, certainly about working with the Innovation Fund around I Am Hope and John Kerwin and other organisations at the top of the cliff.
Has mental health gotten better
since
you took over? So has Matt Ducey done a good job?
Look, I think he has. I mean, I think the reality is...
But how can you say that when you've got people running out?
No, I get it. I've been quite upfront to say it's not good enough, and we know the biggest problem we've got is mental health workforce. But we are putting peer support workers into those EDs, including minute or more, which is helpful. A third of the people going to ED departments, frankly, shouldn't be in there. They can be serviced in GP clinics out with urgent care. That would free up capacity to deal with the really serious cases, mental health or physical health. Look, I get it. There's ongoing work.
It's an ongoing challenge. The roads of national significance, I'm just a little bit worried that they're going to be shaved back. There was one, the Otaki to Levin Expressway. Part of it, at least, is going to be 2 lanes instead of 4. Did you know about this?
Yeah,
to save money?
Well, first of all, there hasn't been a decision made. There's consultation underway, and it's right that they do look at it to say it's a big project. If there's a different or better way to get more value for money, we should look at that. But no decisions have been made on that particularly.
Would you? Because you don't want your RONs being 2 lanes, do you?
Well, I mean, there might be reasons for why they think that's a viable proposal or not. But again, they've got to get consultation on it and make a decision eventually.
All right. Thank you very much. I feel like before you go, because we had Nicola Willis on the other day and we were asked about her dress, where's your suit from? I
want to know, you know that Chris Luxon's being brought to you today by Working Style Suits, a great New Zealand company.
Do you always wear New Zealand made?
Try to, yeah. It's hard to get New Zealand shirts sometimes, or ties, I find.
Yes, so you go international for those.
I'm thinking about bringing back that woolen tie we used to have in the 80s, you know, that square thing that Dad used to wear.
Do you always dry clean?
Yeah.
Do you ever wear the same suit twice?
No, but I buy two of the same suits at times and put them in Wellington.
But you always wash it before you wear it?
What do you mean wash? I don't put it in
at the dry cleaners?
Yeah, it goes to the regular service, the dry cleaning service, yeah.
Because I don't.
You don't?
No, often.
Is that because you got strong cologne, or how does it work?
It's just it's an expense thing. I can't afford to.
Come on your media contract with your green M&Ms and your special seats and your hair gel and your.
Hey, good to see you, Prime Minister. Thank you very much for coming in.
Good to see you too, mate.
It is Prime Minister Christopher Luxon.